Hello, everybody. As I said before, my name is Johnny. I am Team Friendly Ambassador 2025 and the current Mr. San Francisco Leather 2026. The contest it connects to what I'm going to talk about. I really wanted to present my culture in a way that honors my ancestors and our community here in San Francisco. So my ancestors come from northern Texas, southern Texas, northern Mexico, along the Rio Grande River. That's where we come from. And then because of colonization, that's kind of the end of our history. But when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I was initially wanting to talk about land acknowledgments and how they become sort of a trend where, okay, we recognize whose land we're on, and then the event moves forward, right? So there's a lot of conversations now about if you're not offering land back to Native people, then why are you doing a land acknowledgement? But I want to expand that on a little bit, right? Because I think about my journey into winning this title and becoming a leather person, and just my overall life, right? I have a long history of substance use and depression and anxiety that stuck with me for a long time, like all the way into my 30s. And it wasn't until I started to embrace and explore my Indigenous ancestry that I really started to find some healing. Because it was like finding out who I really am and where I come from, right? And it's a piece of the puzzle that was taken away from a lot of us. And so I also want to say my ancestors come from the Americas, and so when I say Indigenous cultures, I'm not only referring to the Americas, South America, North America, but Indigenous cultures around the globe. I wear a headdress during the San Francisco Leather Contest, and I would hope someday we'll see someone wearing their culture proudly from Pacifica, or from the Arab world, or from other parts of the world that are often forgotten. But the point I really want to make is that journey of healing, it really starts to happen when we look inward. And one of the things I always tell folks is you should pray to your ancestors, even if you don't know their names, because it's going to take you one step closer. And to find the traditions, to find the practices, to find the beliefs that exist in your DNA, it does something really powerful to your own healing journey. And I think if you are not now, you should be on a healing journey. And talk to me afterwards if you're interested in finding your pathway to that. And recognizing that I've done some other places, spoke at other places where we talked about some of the practices we engage in kink and leather. They can be healing, they can be powerful, they can help us transform depression and anxiety into something else. And a lot of those practices come from Indigenous practices, Indigenous beliefs, but because they have been transferred to other cultures and kind of embraced in other ways, we lose a lot of the nuance and the elements about why we do things a certain way. And that's important for us to know. Like if you're engaging in a kink that has direct roots to an Indigenous culture, I hope that you will take the time to look and find out what that was and why they did it that way. You'll find a lot more, I don't know what the word is, but a lot more healing, a lot more power in those practices when you look deep and you look at the nuance and the meta about why things are the way that they are. And so I want to encourage you all. There was an auntie in Hawaii who was at one of the protests for Mauna Kea, and she said something that I want everyone to hear, is whoever you are, wherever you come from a people that once cared for the land. And I think that's important for you to find out who those people are, so you can find out who you are, and you can carry your culture like the armor, like the regalia that in the same ways that I do, right? I do it so that other folks from other Indigenous cultures will feel like they now have permission to do it for themselves. I think that's all I got.
Thank you, John.